we have already made the parts required for the ball bearing. Now we will have to assemble those parts to complete our ball bearing design. So here we will go to the assembly mode of the Solidworks environment. Click on the assembly icon and click OK to enter into the assembly environment of the Solidworks. Now we have reached in the assembly environment of the Solidworks. As soon as you open the assembly environment of the Solidworks, you can see that the Solidworks will ask you to begin the assembly. So what here we can do is, here it's shown that part or assembly to insert. That is, we have to add the part or another assembly to insert into this environment. For the time being, we will close this. The first thing we have to do in the assembly environment is to insert the parts we need to assemble. So in order to insert the components, we will use this insert components tool. So click on that. Now we have to browse through our system and find where our parts are, and we have to select those parts. If you didn't get this window, what you can do is, here you can see that part or assembly to insert. Here it's shown that open documents and it's empty. So what you can do is, here there is an option to browse. Click on this browse and select the parts needed to assemble. Browse to the location where you have saved your parts and select all those parts. Here we need 4 parts, so I will select this part, press and hold Ctrl key and select this part and this part. So now we have selected ball, cage, inner ring and outer ring. Then here you can click on open. Now you can see that the 4 parts which we are opened are shown here, and with the mouse pointer one part is attached, which will be the first part you have selected. So what you can do is, you can directly click on the screen somewhere. So I am going to click it on the screen here. So the ball will be placed at that location, and on my mouse pointer the next part will be attached. The next part is cage, so the cage is attached with my mouse pointer. So I will place my cage somewhere. Don't worry about the position or orientation of these things. For now, just place it somewhere in the screen. So I am going to place the cage here, and the next thing is the inner ring, so I will place it somewhere here, and the next thing is the outer ring, and I will place it somewhere here. Now we have placed all the parts in the assembly environment. As you can see that on this left corner, it's showing that the parts which we are imported. The first one is ball, the second one is cage, inner ring and outer ring. If you drop down here, you can see that different properties of the ball. How we made the ball. We made the ball using a revolve and using a sketch. All those details will be available here. Now let's see how we can move objects in this assembly mode. To move object, we have a tool here called move component. Just click on that. Now the move component will be activated. We can move or rotate the particles using this tool. So if you drop down this arrow, you can see that move component option is available and rotate component option is available. So now the move component is activated. As you can see that the move component tool is attached with the mouse pointer, and if you click on any of the part and try to move the mouse, you can see that the object is moving. Similarly, if you want to rotate it, what you can do is, using this drop down, select this rotate and select the object you want to rotate and rotate it. Okay, in order to get rid of this tool, what you can do is click on this OK. Usually we don't have to use this move component tool to move the objects. What we can do is, if I want to move this outer ring, I can left click on this outer ring and just drag the mouse pointer, then the object will be moved. And if I want to rotate it, I can right click on the mouse pointer and drag it, then it will rotate. So I can use these two tools easily in order to move the objects or in order to rotate the object. Now let's try to move this ball. I'm clicking on it and trying to drag it. As you can see that it's not moving, and it's showing that the selected component is fixed, it cannot be moved. So I will not be able to rotate or move this object because it's fixed. So what actually happens is that the first part you have inserted will be a fixed one. So in order to change it to a moving object, what I can do is right click on this object, and here you can see that an option to float. If I click on this, then it will become a movable object. Then if I try to move it, you can see that it will be able to move. If I click on it again, right click on it again, you can see that instead of float, it will be showing fixed. If I click on it and then if I try to move it, then it will not be able to move. So I wanted to move it, so I will make it float. So if you see these objects, it's showing that fix, that is it's now in the floating mode. If I click on the fix, then it will be fixed. Now let's start assembling our ball bearing. In order to make our assembly easier, there is a powerful tool in Solidworks called Mate tool. You can see that here, this here is the Mate tool. If you click on that, the Mate tool will be activated. On the left side you can see that Mate property tab is activated. Here under this Mate you can see that there are many things available. The first one is Mate selection. There we have to provide what all things to be mated. We will see how to do that. The next thing available here is the standard mates. There are many standard mates available like coincident mate, parallel mate, perpendicular mate and so on. If you go down again, there are many other advanced mates and mechanical mates available. Let's see how we will make use of these mates to easily assemble our ball bearing. So I am closing this mate window for now. Click on OK. First of all, we are going to align the outer ring and the inner ring. You can observe that these two rings are concentric. So what I will do is this inner circle of the outer ring, or the outer circle of the outer ring, can be made concentric with this circle. So what I will do is I can either select this circle here. You can see that as I place the mouse pointer, the color is changing. I can select either this circle or this circle or this face. Even I can select even this face, and what I will do is now I will select this circle here, and then I will press and hold Control, and then I will select this circle. As you can see that now those two circles are selected. Next I will go to this Mate tool. I will activate the Mate tool. Now in the mate selection, it's showing that the entities to mate are edge 1 of the outer ring and edge 2 of the inner ring, and it's automatically applied this concentric mate, or else I can apply this tangent mate or lock mate. Here we need a concentric mate, so I have applied the concentric mate. I will click on it and I will click OK, and to get rid of this mate tool I will click on this close. Now the inner ring became concentric with the outer ring. Earlier we were able to move the inner ring to any possible configuration. But now if we try to move the inner ring, we can see that it will not move to a position or orientation where the inner ring is not concentric with the outer ring. So if we try to move it, it will be always concentric with the outer ring. This is how mating works. So what we will do is we will fix this outer ring, because we don't need that to move. I will right click on it and click on fix. Now if I try to move the inner ring, I can see that it will be moving in this direction alone, that is being concentric to the outer ring, and it is sliding. But we want to restrict this motion also, because the only motion required for the inner ring is rotation about its own axis. So we will restrict this rotation using a mate called width mate. Let's go to the mate tool again. Click on the mate. Mate tool will be activated. The width mate is not available in the standard mate. Width mate is an advanced mate. So we will drop down to this advanced mate. In the advanced mate, you can see that many mates available like profile, center, symmetric, width. This width mate here is the mate which we require. So click on that, the width mate will be activated. Now we have to specify two things for the width mate. The first one is width and the second one is tab. So click on this width and select the width. So we will select this face as the first width, and then we will select the opposite face as the second width. And now it will automatically switch to the tab selection. If not, click on this tab selection, and then we have to specify the tabs. So in order to specify the tab, what we will do is we will click on this face and then we will click on this face. Now you can see that we have specified the widths and the tabs. Then click on OK to get out of the width mate, and click on close to get rid of the mate tool. Now you can see that if you try to move the inner ring, it will not move. This is what a width mate do. It will place the tab references exactly midway between the width references. We have given the width references as first this plane and then this plane, and then we gave the tab references as this plane and then this plane. So what this width mate is doing, it will place the tabs, this tab reference and the opposite side exactly midway between the widths, that is between this and this. So now we have placed the inner ring exactly midway between the outer ring. Now let's try to rotate the inner ring. It should be rotatable. So in this move component, you can drop down and rotate it and try to rotate it. As you can see that it's rotating. So get rid of the rotating component tool by clicking on this. Now we will place the ball in between the outer ring and inner ring. For that we will be using a tangent mate. First let's select the ball, press and hold control key and select the outer face of the inner ring. Now those two faces are selected. We will activate the mate tool. You can see that the tangent mate is already activated. So make sure that tangent mate is activated. Click on that. Here the mate selections are face 1 of ball 1 and face 2 of ring 1, and click on OK and close the mate tool. Now the ball is placed in between the inner ring and outer ring. In case if the ball is not placed exactly at the position, what you can do is, here you can see the mates applied. Just drop down here and the mates we have applied will be visible here. The last one we have applied is a tangent mate. If you want to edit, you can click on that and click on edit mate. Now we will be able to edit the mate. Here we can change the alignment of the mate. If I click on this, then the ball will be aligned like that as shown here. But I need this itself, so I will choose that itself. And if you didn't get this, try to change the mate alignment and click OK and close the mate tool. Now in order to make sure that the ball is rotating along with the inner ring, we will apply one more mate between the inner ring and the ball. That is a coincident mate. Here drop down from the ball and select the front plane. Click on the front plane and then go to down and under the inner ring, press and hold control key and select the front plane. Now as you can see that various mates will be appearing here. There is a coincident mate, parallel mate, perpendicular mates available. You can directly apply mates from here itself. No need to go to the mate always. If you didn't get that, then go to the mates, and here the coincident mate is already applied, or else just click on it and apply the coincident mate and then click OK and then close the mate. Now if I try to rotate the inner ring, you can see that the ball is rotating along with the inner ring. We need 8 of such balls around the inner ring. In order to do that, what we will do is we will make use of this circular component pattern in a similar way we have done in the part model. What I will do is I will select this ball and then I will go to the circular component pattern. Then circular component pattern tool will be activated here. The first thing I have to do is I have to specify the direction. So in order to specify the direction, I will select this circle and I have to specify the angle. I will specify it as the 360 degree itself, and I have to give the number of balls needed. So I will give it as 8 and equal spacing is checked. Then I will click on this OK. Now 8 balls are appeared on the surface of the inner ring, and if you rotate it, all of them will be rotating. The last thing in the assembly is the cage. First of all, we need to make the cage concentric with the inner ring or the outer ring. In order to make the axis of the cage visible, what we will do is, here you can see an eye icon, hide all types, drop down from there. Here there is an option to view temporary axis. So click on that. You can see that the axis of the cage is visible. If you zoom into the center, you can see that there is an axis for the cage. That is the axis of the cylinder we have drawn. So we will select this axis and then zoom out and select this axis of the inner ring or the outer ring. Press and hold the control key and then select this axis. Now we have selected those two axes. Then we will go to Mate tool. You can see that the axis selected here and the Concentric Mate is already applied. Then click on OK. Press close to get out of the Mate tool. The next thing we have to make here is that we have to attach the cage with the balls. For that, what we will do is we will select this face of the cage, press and hold control key and then select this ball. Then you can see that there are many mates appearing. First one is tangent and then the concentric. Here we will apply a tangent mate between those two. So click on that. Now you can see that the mate is applied, but still the cage is not touching the ball. So we can make sure that the cage is touching the ball. For that we will have to go to the mates here, mate drop downs, and go to this tangent mate and edit feature. Here we will have the mate alignment. So now this alignment is selected. If you click on this, you can see that now the cage is attached with the balls. Close the tangent mate, close the Mate tool. Now if you try to rotate the inner ring, along with the balls and the inner ring, the cage will also rotate. We need the cage on the opposite side also. For that, what we will do is we will just mirror the half portion of the cage on this side also. In order to do that, we need to select this tool here called mirror components. Here under the linear component pattern, we have a tool called mirror components. So select that mirror components tool. Then it will ask two things. The first one is a mirror plane and the second one is a components to mirror. The first one is the plane about which we have to mirror. So I will select this plane itself. So we will be mirroring about that plane itself, and the components to mirror is nothing but this. That is the entire cage. You can see that the components to mirror is showing us cage 1 and the mirror plane is face 1 of the cage 1, and then select OK. After you click on OK, you can see that the cage is mirrored about that plane. Now our cage assembly is completed. If you try to rotate the inner ring, you can see that it is rotating very smoothly. So this is our complete ball bearing assembly.